now we're actually in the forest level, and I just want to show you guys a few updates on the enemies of the forest level. They all do the same thing, but they visually look incredibly different. So I'm just going to go ahead and grab our knight here, as he is the most damaging, easiest to show off stuff with. And I'm going to go ahead and just turn him on invulnerable. Alright, so these are our fairies from before. So these guys shoot out 2 times, they turn a little bit per shot. That's no different, but now they actually look a little bit more fairy-esque. Honestly, if you ask me, they look kind of like a mite, but with a glow to them. So they actually don't have different animations, they simply change color and size as they go through each phase of their attacks. So as he dies, you can see it gets shorter. It gets really small. Come on, there it goes. And then they die off. So they look at least fairy-esque based on the limitations we have. That was one of the better ones we could do. Alright, next to this we have our poisoner enemy. These enemies have gone back and forth on what they should... Oh, that's a big circle there. Our poisoner now shoots out this green ball that spins rather than a small poison capsule. But now it shoots that out and chases after me, and it would deal damage when I'm invulnerable. And it does damage over time. So, but instead, now it looks like a spider. And there we go. Okay. So that takes care of all of the early enemies. Now we just need to get to the last enemy. Last enemy we have is our Minotaur over here. He's going to take a tree and he's going to smash the tree and splinter it out as it attacks you. He also has a decent bit of health. Each of these swipes takes 10 health, and we can see he barely has any life remaining. So he's taking a good amount of hits in comparison to the spider, which is almost dead after one of those, and the fairies that are dead after one hit of those. Alright. So that's everything updated with the forest area. Just want to make sure you understand that the forest area isn't going to go through a lot of updates after this point because the forest area is done. The treant is also nothing different with that boss either. So all enemies on this area and the first area are completely finished. We're going to go ahead and hop over to the snowy area and show you the updates on that level as well. Alright, we are now in the snowy area. Again, we're going to choose our knight and do the same little cheat codes we had before. I went ahead and brought you to the second round to start with. And I'll show you why we're starting here. So in the first area, it did not change. The enemies are the same. They all do the same thing that they were doing before. The crates here are a little different because before we had the mana potions and health potions, due to an update to the items, which we did see in the first area that I was showing off, when an enemy drops an item, it drops it for that particular hero. So if I'm playing the knight and I want my first ability power, instead of it dropping the big old fireball like the wizard would have, instead it drops the image of the first ability for the knight, which is the sword slash. And that applies to all items that are pickups. So due to that, we couldn't leave items out to begin with. Instead, we had to put them in these little crates, even though they do basically the same thing. Alright. So, I want to show off that. So, with a quick update to this area, you can see the background is quite a bit different, and we can see the area down here kind of shows off this little area like you would have in a 2D platform and things like that. So I'm going to go down here, but I can't actually continue any further down. You can even see the ledge catching me right there. If I get caught here, it's not gonna, I can just get stuck back here. It just kind of pushes me along. So this little bit of control here, limiting where you can go, is not limiting to the enemies. The enemies can go down here and do what they gotta do. All right. So all the enemies are the same. Nothing's changed there. It's just this little difference in the background and difference down here. I'm gonna go ahead and move over to the third round. Actually, before I do that, our barrier enemy has a few things I want to review here. So first off, before it would create the barrier and it would shoot and it couldn't get past this barrier, so now the spawn point for the projectile is past the barrier. As well as the barrier here, the damage value hasn't changed, and I killed him. But the barrier enemy will now create the barrier back again after it's been broken, which was not part of the level before. Now we're going to skip over to round 3. And in round 3, we can see this has definitely got a rework of the level. We have more stuff going on in the background and the foreground. The big thing to mention here is that this lower area is the same as it was in the previous level, where it forced you up and down. Now, this is a dramatically sharper turn, so during, especially like the boss fight, where there's a lot of enemies on the map, this area becomes a lot harder to control where you can and where you cannot go. Also, with the Knight and the Knight tank, you actually, if you just were paying attention, I right-click and I busted through that barrier and hit the barrier behind him, barrier enemy behind him. Keep that in mind. That was an unintentional thing, but it actually ended up being a really cool now feature to the game. Alright, we have one last level to show off for you guys. We actually have created a new level. We have the Crypt level. I have 3 enemies to show you off here and show off some of the aspects of this level. Not all of this level is completed. The boss is definitely going to take some more time, and the environmental effects have just went into place and have not been debugged. So I'm going to try to avoid touching those, as they are not doing what they are supposed to be doing as of this moment. Also, I would like to mention, we have started up another level called the Mountain level. All of the enemies in that area are completed. However, the backgrounds and hookups and things like that have not been completed. So, although part of the work's completed, there's actually nothing for us to show you in the video here. But just be aware that that will be here in the next video. Alright, here we go. We have our new enemies already. We have 2 different types of enemies here. Believe it or not, we actually have 2 really cool guys. So first off, we have our Medusa. I'm going to go ahead and take care of one of these guys. Okay, I'm taking a lot of damage because I'm talking. I'm going to take care of one of these guys. There we go. Okay, so cool. We have our Medusa. Medusa shoots 5 times and then goes invisible. Now, it's not completely invisible. The alpha is set above 0. You can kind of see the faded image. And upon hitting her, you'll see the health bar pop up. Come on, go back. There we go. The health bar stays as visible as it always has. That way you at least can see the hit markers. Upon death, they just turn to stone. There you go. So these little guys are necromancers, and they're going to cast these poison bolts. I'm going to turn off invincibility, because that is going to do some, it's going to kind of destroy what's going on here. So these 2 bolts kind of, move around, and I'm going to go ahead and hit by 1 or 2 of them. Okay, so it took 10 damage each, and I'm taking 2 more damage per second for 3 more seconds. But because I got hit with 2 of them, it went for 6 seconds. So I'm taking a good bit of damage over the course of that time, and I'm taking a good bit of damage up front. Oh, I'm gonna die. Don't die. Don't die. So there is the 2 new enemies there. I'm going to turn back invulnerability because these guys are tough right now. This is designed for a late game fight. This is after you've already unlocked everyone and after you already understand what's going on. Alright, this is our suicide bomber here. He's going to come at us, and he's going to drop the bomb, and he's going to, boom. He kills himself, and then we take a decent bit of damage there too. That is all of the enemies in the Crypt level, and everything we have to show you this week. Like I said, this week we have a lot to show you. Apologize for not splitting this up into 2 different videos, which was a consideration. But due to the amount of time that it takes to edit one of these, it's gonna just have to be one video. Any which way, thank you guys for keeping track of our game. We are hoping to have the mountain level up by next video, probably the next level, if not the level after that as well. Since we have all the characters created, that will give us a little bit more time to do that. We have a lot more enemies to create, of course. And then after that, we're going to move into our alpha stage, where we're going to be testing out the game and seeing what people like, what people don't like. So stay tuned. That might be within a month. Fingers crossed. If not, might push it to 2 months. But yeah, stay tuned, guys, because this game's getting closer and closer to being completed. Lastly, guys, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. We do appreciate anyone that has actually some good input about maybe some direction we can have, and maybe have some testers or 2 come from YouTube. That'd be just crazy, but it'd be cool. So yeah, just let us know.